Hi everyone, have you ever met one of those glib-tongued salesmen, who succeeded in making you buy something you did not really need, but you bought because the salesman was able to convince you about why you needed it? I am resolutely convinced that the value of a product is not only in its content or proposition, but in the capacity of the people selling it to properly connect it with its intended market. Success is easy for anyone who knows how to sell well. The difference is only in what we sell, how we sell, where we sell, and who we are selling to. If we know what to do, we can indeed sell coal to the residents of Newcastle. A friend recently sent me a story, entitled How to Sell a Comb to Monks by Joshua Zhao. I tell it here largely in my own words. In this story, a business conglomerate in Asia needed to boost their sales capacity by hiring a new sales executive. They wanted the best. Several sales professionals had applied for the position. 3 candidates with what seemed to be impeccable credentials were shortlisted. The sterling qualifications of these men made it very difficult to decide which of them should get the job. So the board decided to set them a sales challenge. They were to sell combs to monks of any of the Buddhist monasteries up in the mountains. They were given 3 days for the task. The real problem, however, was not in selling combs or the quality of the combs. It was in the fact that monks were supposed to be completely shaven. How do you sell combs to people who have no hair? At the end of the 3 days, the applicants returned to give their reports. The first candidate said, "I managed to sell 1 comb. The monks scolded me, saying I was openly mocking them. I was so disappointed I gave up and simply walked away. However, on my way back, I saw a junior monk with an itchy scalp. He was constantly scratching his head. I told him the comb would help him with his scratching. He bought 1 comb." Grinning from ear to ear in what seemed to be a self-congratulatory posture, the second candidate said, "Well, I did better. I sold 10 combs." Excited, the panel asked, "How did you do it?" Prompt came the reply, "I observed that the visitors had very messy hair due to the strong winds they faced while walking to the temple. I managed to convince the head monk to give out combs to the visitors so they could comb their hair and show greater respect during their worship." As the members of the panel made to applaud, candidate 3 stepped up. "Not so fast. Why don't you let me give my report?" "How many did you sell?" asked the panel. 1,000 combs, he replied. The panel was dumbfounded. One of them exclaimed, "Wow! How did you do it?" Candidate number 3 replied, "I went to one of the biggest temples on top of the mountain, and requested to see the chief monk. I thanked him profusely for serving the people, and providing a lovely and sacred place of worship for them. He told me that he would like to appreciate visitors to the temple for their support and devotion. I suggested that the best way would be to offer his visitors a souvenir inscribed with the blessing of Buddha. Before going up the mountain, I had gone to engrave some words of Buddhist blessings on the combs, and I showed him a sample. I also told him about how people would use the combs daily and how they would be constantly reminded to do good deeds. He loved the idea, and proceeded to order 1,000 combs." "You were only lucky," one of the other candidates said bitterly. "Not really," a member of the interview panel countered. "He had a plan, which was why he had the comb engraved prior to his visit. Even if that temple did not want it, another one surely would." "That is not all," the third candidate smiled. "I went back to the temple yesterday to check on Chief Monk. He said many visitors told their friends and family about the comb with the Buddha's blessing. This has resulted in an upsurge of visitors daily, with each one requesting for the comb, and giving generous donations towards the operations of the monastery. The chief is sure that if the influx continues, he will run out of the combs in less than a month and will need to order more." As a conclusion, the same product was to be sold by all 3 of them. But the first candidate demonstrated the most basic level of sales success. He was concerned with meeting the client's personal need or solving a personal problem. In which case, the potential for making any sales is only if any monk would personally need a comb, and for what purpose. He made one sale to the monk who had an itchy scalp and needed something to scratch his head. As far as that monk was concerned, however, the comb could have been anything else that would help him do the same thing. The second candidate anticipated and created new needs for the prospect. The master monk might not have needed the comb, but it would be of some benefit in keeping the sanctity of his monastery. Educating the prospect on new possibilities and benefits for his business puts you ahead of the competition. The third guy took it a notch higher by deliberately and painstakingly developing an ongoing relationship, which created a win-win situation that resulted in repeat sales. He also expanded the circle of relationships by helping the prospect to meet the deepest needs of their own prospects, in a way that created significant value to all involved. Sustainable success is only possible when you can consistently create a circle of satisfied and obsessed customers who trust you enough to be loyal and to desire to keep doing business with you. Believe in yourself. Your limitation is only your imagination. Thank you for listening to my presentation.